Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report. In today's show, 5 Raiders on defense with the most to prove during training camp. The rookies, they report July 23rd. So now all the hype around training camp in Napa is getting here, and we are finally going to break down the 5 players with the most to prove on defense, because when you're ranked dead last in the NFL, you need to be able to show up on defense. Number 1 on my list, it's Arden Key. When we talk about Arden Key, we always talk about potential. Yet, he hasn't really lived up to all this hype and all this potential. Now, there was a lot of offseason reports that Arden Key needed to add weight this offseason. So last season, he played at 238. When you listen to John Gruden, when you listen to Paul Guenther, they wanted him around 260 pounds. Arden Key is now reportedly at around 260 pounds. And I think one of the reasons is because when you look at his quarterback hits last year, he had 11. And if you want to turn some of those quarterback hits into sacks, because when you only have one QB hit and you only have one sack, I think when you can get maybe your technique down, we can turn some of those hits into some sacks, because, come on, we all know we need to be able to get after the quarterback a little bit better. Another reason why I think Arden's kind of a little bit nervous about his starting position, it's because of Maxx Crosby. Maxx Crosby has been unbelievably great this offseason. And when you look at their combine results, this was pretty interesting to me. So Maxx Crosby had a 4.66, okay? Vertical jump, better than Arden Key. Broad jump, better than Arden Key. 3-cone, better than Arden Key. And then the 20-yard shuttle, better than Key. Maxx Crosby is actually a very, very good athlete. And maybe Arden's like, oh man, this kid's pretty good and he could take my job. So who's going to have more sacks in 2019? I want you to type K for Arden Key or type C for Maxx Crosby in the comments section. So if you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on Facebook, make sure you guys comment below, okay? More sacks in 2019. Let's go to number 2 on my list. It's Marquel Lee. I like Marquel Lee a lot. So he was second on the team with 68 tackles last season, behind only Tahir Whitehead. He lost 12 pounds this offseason to help in pass protection. One of the biggest negatives in Marquel Lee's game, according to Paul Guenther, was his inability to be able to cover running backs and tight ends in the passing game. When you're going up against Patrick Mahomes, Phillip Rivers, you're going up against very, very talented receiving corps, and an NFL league now that is very pass-happy, you need to be able to cover running backs and tight ends, especially at the linebacker position. Now, I think when you consider Marquel Lee's season last year, the 68 tackles is impressive. But I think everybody who's watching this show right now can also agree that the linebacking core this season for the Oakland Raiders is much more talented and much more deep than it was a season ago. We added Vontaze Burfict, who I like a lot, and I actually think he could be a captain because of his past success with Paul Guenther. But then we have Brandon Marshall. I think Marquel Lee and Brandon Marshall are going to battle it out for that weak linebacker position. Now, I said it before, I think Marquel Lee is a good player who had 68 tackles, but the defense is a lot better this season. So who's going to have more tackles in 2019? Because I've been asked a bunch. So I'm going to ask everybody, because this show is not about me, it's about y'all. So in 2019, who's going to have more tackles? I want you to type M for Brandon Marshall or type L for Marquel Lee. Let's go to number 3 on my list here. Most to prove on defense heading into training camp. It's Coney. So he was an undrafted free agent, but you guys know how much I respect Tom, and he had him projected to be a 4th-round pick. And the fact that he went undrafted, we were all pretty surprised here at Chat Sports. Now, I recently predicted Coney to make the final 53-man roster, because when I look at just overall talent and look at what I think Gruden and Guenther are really trying to add to this team, it's a player like Coney, who, sure, he is an average athletic dude, but he's a grinder. And when you look to see what he did last year at Notre Dame, 123 tackles. You don't put up 123 tackles unless you're a good linebacker. And sure, his numbers maybe aren't off the charts, but Coney's a solid tackler, and I think that's what's most important in a Paul Guenther style defense. Now, here's my projected final linebacking depth chart, okay? So I did my final 53-man projections, and here's what it came out to be. I think Coney is going to make the roster. I think the Raiders are going to keep 7 linebackers, and ultimately, I think Coney is going to be one of those final 7. So Coney is a UDFA. There was many other UDFAs for the Oakland Raiders. So which ones are going to make the team? Or is it only going to be Coney? Or none of the UDFA is going to make the team? I want you guys to comment below. I know another very, very popular player in terms of UDFAs for the Raiders is Clelin Doss. Between you and me, I think Doss and Coney would be my two players to pick that'll make the final 53-man. Now, do you guys like money? I think so. Do you like betting on the Raiders? I would also hope so. Do you want a free NFL jersey? Well, now I got your attention. So, chatsports.com/Raiders. Go to my bookie. Sign up and deposit using my promo code GORAIDERS for 100% deposit bonus. And once you do that, slide in my DMs at Mitchell Renz 365. Sorry, guys. I did it. Going to hook you up with the jersey. All right, let's move on here. Got number 4 on my list, Eddie Vanderdoes. So, I think when you consider Eddie, a lot of you guys are always telling me, hey, Mitch, he's really, really talented. I don't know if he's really, really talented. I mean, he's our 5th defensive tackle right now on the depth chart. Yet, he missed the entire 2018 season with an ACL injury. And in 2017, he also battled injuries. And if you cut Eddie, it's going to save $720K. The thing with Eddie, I think, is when you look at Jonathan Hankins, you consider the Mo Hurst has really kind of grown into it. And then you have Jelly also. I don't really know if the Raiders have enough room for Eddie to make the final 53-man. And considering the fact that he has only 18 tackles in 16 games, he is a player who needs to finally live up to that third-round hype. The Raiders took him in 2017 in that third round, and his combine, I think, was mediocre. I mean, a 4.99 40-yard dash, 28 reps on the bench, a 7.693 cone, and then a 20-yard shuttle of 4.39. Eddie is another prime example of a player who, sure, probably would have made the roster last year and would have played if he wouldn't have gotten hurt. But this season, the Raiders just added a lot more talent on defense, and the fact that the Raiders are more talented on defense this year is the reason why Eddie may be on the outside looking in. Now, I always brag that this show is the most interactive show on YouTube for all Raiders content, so I wanted to ask, okay, what do you guys like and dislike about the show? I want you to comment below. I'm going to put some answers on from YouTube, from Facebook, anywhere that you see this video, okay? What do you like and dislike about the Raiders report? Now, I also give shout-outs, because, again, most interactive. So this one came from Angel. Hey, Mitch, I don't always interact, but great job. Let's go, Raider Nation. So I told everyone to comment Raider Nation if you watched the very, very end of my last video. Hector, he's going, Raider Nation for life, Mitch. Thanks for coming through with the idea for Chris Warren for fullback. You guys wanted it, so I did it. Frankie R. Flores Sr., one of my more loyal watchers. Raider Nation for life. I always watch until the end. Much appreciated. Rocky was yelling at me. He's like, Mitch, you didn't put my comment on your show. Rocky, here you go. Fire Tom Cable and Greg Olson. FC Greg Olson. But here's the other thing, man. You know, I got a picture. So, Rocky, this is the first picture that came up. If this is what you look like, shout out to you. And then Aaron Starr. Raider Nation for life. Just followed you on IG, brother. Much appreciated. And if you guys follow me on IG, you'll know that I put a picture up this past weekend. If you guys want this flag, and if you're a big fan of the Big Bang Theory, my show, Fun with Flags, I want you to DM Raider Nation Store on IG. The first 3 people to do that, you're going to get that flag. So DM flag to Raider Nation Store on Instagram. The first 3 people that do that, you will get yourself a flag. Thanks. Yeah. Gotcha. All right, let's go to my last player here. Most players, God, why do I keep screwing up the title? Players with the most to prove on defense. It's Clelin Ferrell to me. Number 5, okay? Drafted 4th overall, and many thought, including myself, that was a little bit of a reach. Also, there's been reports all offseason that some wonder if he's mean enough to be a Raider. Now, I expect him to start right away. But when you're entering a team that had only 13 sacks last year, there is no doubt that you're going to be under a microscope. Like, Clelin Ferrell is a very, very talented player, but one of the reasons why I think the Raiders went out and got him was due to past success, like he had at Clemson. Also, Mayock believes that the Raiders got the right man for the job. They point to his character, work ethic, and history of success. Heck, Mayock calls him a foundation player who could play every down and excel versus the pass and the run. If the Raiders are really trying to build around Clelin Ferrell, well, he's had the past success. My only thing that I've said about Clelin, he's not an exceptional athlete. He's really not. So think about this. Maxx Crosby, we drafted him 106. Ferrell was drafted number 4. But when you look at combine numbers, Maxx Crosby's numbers are actually better than Clelin Ferrell's. Now, Crosby, from what I've heard, is a very good athlete, and it's one of the reasons why he's excelling this offseason. But Ferrell, you were drafted number 4 overall. You have a lot to prove, and I'm telling you right now, the microscope is going to be on you. So who's going to lead the team in sacks this season? If there is one question that I get asked probably more than any in the comments section is, Mitch, is our defense going to improve? Who's going to lead the team in sacks? Again, when you have only 13, it's a reason why the question's asked. So who's going to lead it? Crosby? Arden Key? Mo Hurst? I want you to guys comment below who's going to lead the team in sacks this upcoming season. Now, defensive players with the most approved. Here are my top 5 heading into training camp in Napa. I got Arden Key at number 1, Marquel Lee at number 2, Tavon Coney at number 3, Eddie Vanderdoes at number 4, and the Clelin Ferrell at number 5. But I want to know from everybody who's watching right now, did I leave a player off? Let me know. Which defensive player has the most to prove in training camp? Comment below. And also, if you guys watch to the very end, type Raider Nation for life. If you watch till the very end of the video, because I want to start rewarding the people who watch my videos from start to finish. Raider Nation, what's going on? Is this the #1 Raiders channel on YouTube? For Chucky Heads, believe it, baby. And if you haven't already, subscribe right here. I'm giving you Chucky Heads, news, rumors, Raider Nation rumors. And look at this, I'm making your life easier. Check out my next video. Thanks for watching, and go Raiders.